All right, so we are up to day 199 of going through my old journal. And the quote for today says, "In the depth of winter, I finally learned that within me there lay an invincible summer." It says, "Describe the seasons of your life and events that represent each season." So if you're following along, you might take a minute to pause and think about how you might respond to this question. And let's see what I wrote. I said, my winter has definitely occurred over the last few years. I'd say the fall probably started around 2011, 2012. That's when I first started realizing that things in the world weren't as straightforward as they seem. I was exposed to several documentaries about a wide range of topics that started to open my eyes to the realities of the world. And I think this happens to most people at some point in their life. And I'm wondering if that might be like the midlife crisis that most people have. Like, they just keep going along in life and they do what they're supposed to do. They get a job, they get married, they have kids. And then it's like once their kids are older and out of the house, they start looking at like, okay, what is my life about? Like, what is this? You know, that's just kind of what I've been thinking about. But I think because a lot of millennials like have held off on getting married, or they've gotten married and gotten divorced and or not had kids, and so I feel like some of them are starting to have this like crisis like a little bit early and trying to figure out like, well, what is this all about? Like, what's, you know, whatever. But yeah, I would say that happened to me around 2011, 2012. It was when I was kind of like in between things. I'd already finished my bachelor's degree. I'd gone and interned at Disney. I was trying to figure out what was next. I decided that I didn't think medical school was for me at the time, but then I was trying to figure out like what I was gonna do. And then yeah, I had this like year or so gap in between. Like, it was the first time that I didn't like have a clear like kind of plan, short-term plan going forward. And I just kind of fell into all this stuff. And I said, it was one of those things that was both exciting but also disappointing and a bit scary. At that time, I didn't fall all the way down the rabbit hole. And then I have in parentheses, and I still don't think I've fallen completely, but my perspective on the world definitely changed. And I would say my perspective would like come and go. Like, yeah, it was like certain days I would feel like, anyway, I'd feel like I would go back to my old way of thinking, and then other days I would feel like, oh my gosh, like this whole world is a little bit overwhelming. I said for my winter, I'd say I fell into the dead of it around June of 2020. It was the day that the Black Lives Matter protests were really starting up. I said on social media, people were arguing and everything was so chaotic on top of everything already going on with COVID. I remember just feeling overwhelmed and shutting down. Over the next year and a half, I had several periods of deep despair. And I said December 2021 was especially bad. I said, but I feel like I'm starting to come out of it this year. Perhaps I'm finally moving into spring. And I would say that's accurate. I would say, I guess I didn't even talk about like what my childhood was. I guess I don't really feel like that was even a season. Like, I don't know, but I feel like my it's weird. I feel like my life really started when I started self-reflecting, like at that time in 2011, 2012, and then I was still, I don't know. And then yeah, the winter hit me in like 2020, 2021. And then yeah, I finally feel like things are starting to get better, and actually like these past few months I felt pretty good actually. Like, I know like some of my videos I've been talking about like a lot of the stuff going on in the world and being like concerned about that and the way things are heading, but I feel like for me, like psychologically and like emotionally, I'm getting to a good place even with all this crazy stuff that's going on. So yeah, I mean, I can't control what's going on in the world, but I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, even though stuff in the outside world is kind of getting a little bit weird and crazy, like, I feel like in my own world, things are kind of starting to level out, if that makes sense. And I hope there's a summer on the horizon. I feel like I'm getting there. I feel hopeful that when I finish my PhD, I still don't know what I'm going to do after that. Right now I'm thinking, you know, put all my focus into that, and then I'm also training for the bodybuilding competition, and then I think when I finish that, finish my PhD, I'll throw all of myself into the bodybuilding thing for maybe 6 months to a year and compete, and then figure out what's after that. But I don't know. I feel like I'm fortunate. I feel like I've set myself up over the years to have a pretty good like second half of my life. But I guess we'll see. I don't know. I do feel like I've been doing this journal. I don't know if this, I can't say that this journal has helped. You know what? I'm almost done with this. Like, this is day 199. There's one more day left, and then I think I might make a video at the end that just kind of like sums up my thoughts on everything. So yeah, I will just call it an end here, and then go to day 200 tomorrow. I'm trying to think, like, I say that I didn't have any seasons when I was younger, but there were definitely like some times that felt good, that kind of felt like a dream, you know, or like, I don't know, but I don't feel like I've really come into myself until like the past couple of years. So I just kind of feel like my past before that just doesn't, like, that's not even me. It's just so weird. I don't really feel like I've been myself until more recently. So I feel like starting to look at the seasons was just starting to look at the last few years for me. But anyway, that's what I got for today, and I'll be back tomorrow with day 200.